The next topic, topic 5, are expected values and decision trees. We use this quite often when we have some level of uncertainty. When they say, well, what do you think the revenues will be? Well, I think it'll be $1 million. Well, could it be higher? Yeah, it could be higher. Could it be lower? Yeah, it could be lower. So all of a sudden, say, well, then you're not really sure in your revenue estimates, are you? So we say, how do we get some more ways to evaluate just how certain we are? So these are two techniques. I'll show both in Excel. The first is expected value, and the second is decision trees. All right, so here's an example of expected values. Simply saying, well, what do you think we'll do? Well, I think we'll sell 1,000. Oh, really? How certain are you? Could it be higher? And they say, oh yeah, it could be 2,000. Could it be lower? Yeah, I guess it could be 200. All right, so now we've bounded the range of possibilities. The next pass through is say, okay, help me think, like, how likely is it that we will hit the number you said, which is 1,000? Oh, I give it about a 50% chance. Bingo, write it down. You say, well, that best case where you thought it could be 2,000, out of 100%, what chance might that be? Well, it's actually pretty high. We have a great product. I think we're early in this market. I think we'll do some damage. I think it's 30%. Oh, good. Well, how about this worst case where it's not going to go so well? The remaining amount is 20%. Does that sound about right? Oh, yeah, that sounds about right. So all of a sudden we created something quantitative from impressions. And this is not the most commonly used thing, but it's not bad, because you'll find that people that really know their business have an innate feel for many aspects of the business, which often rival computers. It's not as rigorous, of course, as fact-based, but it's not bad. So now let's use the technique of expected values. So I'll just put EV here. The expected case is 50% probability that we'll get 1,000. The best case is 30% probability that we'll get 2,000. And the worst case is 20% probability that we'll get 200. When we add those together, we get a number of 1140. So that is the expected value. So when we took a shot at it, oh, I think it'd be 1,000. Well, with a little bit more rigor, kind of thinking through what might happen on the high side, what might happen on the low side, and factoring those in with our estimated probabilities, we say, we're pretty close to the 1,000, but now I think I'm a little bit smarter. I think it's 1140. Anyway, that's how we refine it using expected values. The next approach is to go one step further and build a decision tree where we kind of map out what happens in between the launching of a product and the actual getting of results, right? Instead of just looking at it in the future and saying it's 1,000 or 1140. Now we say, on the right side, we say, well, let's start our rollout. What might happen? It could be great, it could be okay, or it could be bad. What's the probability of those happening? Well, it's about 40%, 35, and 25. Okay, fine. If it goes great and now you got the test market results and now you launch, what's the likely outcomes there? Well, it could go well, and it's pretty certain because the test went well, our planning was fantastic. So there's about a 7% chance of this group that it'll be really good. Yeah, we never know, so 30% won't be so good. And we do the same for the just okay branch and the bad branch. And we get these endpoints. And when these endpoints are great test, high launch, great test, low launch. So each of these numbers here comprise a certain scenario. And so when we do this, the way to get this number correct is we say, well, what's the result? 2,000. And the probability is we just trace the tree. So you start here at 40% and you multiply it times the next one of 70%. And if you had 10 different nodes of this, you would just multiply it times 10 different percentages. But here we don't have 10, just for illustration, we have 2. And so we'll do that for each of them. And one test is the probability better equal 100. It does here, which means that it worked out fine. It means we explained everything. Now we get to the last and most important part. You take these percentages, just like we did on the EV, to get what happens. So we copy this. And we get 1155. And we've just refined our estimate once again. If we just took a shot at it, I think it's 1,000. If we did an expected value based on some just broad guesses of best case, worst case, etc., we get 1140. And if we say, well, let's just kind of map this out. Let's walk me through the steps by which we will succeed in selling this product, from test marketing to launch. And we do that, and we sign probabilities, and we're at 1155, right? These are all close. It will probably not be this close in real life, but the processes we're looking at. One is you can say, here's my base case. That's level one. Second is, well, let's do a little bit more around expected values to get a second case. The third is, well, let's kind of walk through the steps and assign probabilities using the steps and the outcomes, and you get further refined. So this is just a progression of getting better and better results inside your model.